We are so excited to present Jen and team. And so you all just watched the movie Vertical Harvest, or the show Hearts of Glass, presenting Vertical Harvest. And we have with us a couple panelists, and we'll do a couple bit questions and answers, and then we'll have a short time for individuals to ask questions in the audience. And Julia Claire, who has the microphone, will be helping with that as well. And I'll come back in the theater. But Jen, do you want to kick it off and tell us a little bit about who you are and this film? And we'll move on to Ava and Mycah after that.
Sure. It's great to be there. I can imagine you all sitting in the lovely Yes Cinema. Thank you for watching Hearts of Glass. I'm Jennifer Tennican. I'm the director of the film, and I've been doing independent documentary for about 20 years. I initially worked with folks in the Boston area with the public television station WGBH and did Nova science shows, and moved to Jackson in 2002 and have been telling community stories since then. And Hearts of Glass is my third film that has been set in Jackson. I've decided I'm only going to work locally and only going to tell local stories. And just been really excited. This is my first film that's had an outreach and engagement campaign, and the impact that the film is having around discussions around disability inclusion and sustainable local food production and social entrepreneurship have been really exciting. And we love presenting with organizations like the Arc of Bartholomew County. So that's my story, and I am sticking to it. Take it away, Ava.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Ava Reynolds. I am originally from the East Coast. I grew up in Virginia and went to the University of Virginia, where I studied global sustainability and studio art. So I was really drawn to Vertical Harvest as a summer internship program in 2019 with the interest in the sustainability aspect of the local food movement, along with the social impact mission with Vertical Harvest and our employment mission. So I started full-time after I graduated from UVA in 2020 and have been full-time with Vertical Harvest since then, and really excited about our expansion program and all the efforts that we're making to kind of further the impact of our employment model with sustainability and environmental sustainability. And I'll pass it to Mycah.
Hi, my name is Mycah Miller. I've been born and raised in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
That's okay. When did you start working at Vertical Harvest, Mycah?
I started working at Vertical Harvest in March in 2014. And
yeah, and so you've been working there since 2014. Mm-hmm. And what is your favorite part about working at Vertical Harvest?
My favorite part of working at Vertical Harvest is in the retail market before COVID hit. And now I'm working in packaging right now. Same with the RAC team, of course. And I also work at Teton Village at the Nevermore Ski Resort here in Jackson. And back when I was a teenager, I was 17 back then. I was prom queen, first time.
And now movie star.
And now I'm a movie star, and I love it. and that's me.
Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. And Mycah, I definitely believe you're a movie star. We loved watching you on screen. Can you guys tell us a little bit about what it's like to work at Vertical Harvest and what kind of work model the company has?
So we utilize our program that we've coined the Grow Well model, which is really about empowering every person for who they are and helping them develop professional, personal, and community goals with a lot of specialization and customization to their needs. So it's a really uplifting environment with kind of constantly learning about each other in a really close way. We have a weekly meeting where we're all together and are able to kind of do icebreakers that are about emotional wellness and physical wellness. And we really know each other as coworkers and team members. And by truly knowing each other, we are really trying to empower everyone to grow and meet their goals. What do you think, Mycah, about the Grow Well model?
The Grow Well model.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Grow Well model.
Yeah, what is it like to work at Vertical Harvest with our kind of customizable employment model? Has it allowed you to kind of pursue other jobs and goals?
Yes, definitely. Pursuing jobs and goals. Yes, like I have a goal too with the greenhouse myself. It's to be a hard worker. That's my goal.
Can
Yes, Jen.
sorry. One thing I was going to just go back, sorry, nobody asked me this, but I won't let that stop me from answering a question. Jackson is a really small town. It's about 10,000 people. So a lot of people ask me, why I decided to tell that story. And I knew the two, there were 3 women behind Vertical Harvest, and I knew 2 of them. So, it was a 6 to 8 year process of getting Vertical Harvest off the ground and, just watching their commitment to it. And I think, when Ava and Mycah talk about the Grow Well model and this, it's a corporate commitment, it's a cultural commitment to a culture of inclusion, which is really powerful, and I think has sustained them through, as you see in the film, there are some ups and downs to be, to a startup, and the fact that everybody's pulling together is tremendously helpful and valuable.
Awesome. I can speak probably for the rest of the people in Columbus that it would be amazing to have such a wonderful facility and business here in Columbus, minus the snow.
Yeah, turns out you don't have to have snow to have a Vertical Harvest, but yeah.
So awesome. Mycah, can you talk a little bit about some of the people and friends that you've met while working at Vertical Harvest?
Well, the people at the greenhouse, I have tons of friends there. I have tons of friends at the greenhouse. Even my high school, where my high school friends is working with us now. Her name is Amanda. I went to high school with her, and I have two best friends that work there too.
And Mycah, what are you doing with these friends at the end of April?
Well, at the end, it's really exciting. We're going to Las Vegas for Johnny and my birthday too. But it's mainly for Johnny's birthday first. We're going to celebrate my birthday on Sunday.
A work friend trip.
Yes, it's a work friend trip.
Have the authorities been alerted in Las Vegas?
Yeah, Johnny's gonna be reading cards and
Is he gonna show up in his brony costume?
most likely, yes.
Yeah.
It's a for me though. I'm gonna show
That
up.
was my question for sure. Is he going to show up in the costume?
Yeah, it's a for me though. I like to show up as a star, of course. I also like to be a queen and a princess myself.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Mycah, and happy early birthday.
Thank
Las
you.
Vegas is full of lights and good food, so I'm sure you will enjoy your work friend trips. So, Jen, do you want to share a little bit more about why you think telling this story is so important, and maybe the process and collaboration of stuff of telling this story or stories like it in the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I initially jumped in, I knew it was a unique opportunity. I think from a number of perspectives, the level of technology in the building, the fact that it was a public-private partnership, and on this small strip of land that's left over from the parking garage, and then the employment model. But I don't think I had a sense of how they would all come together. And, kudos to everyone at Vertical Harvest who just allowed us to be in the same space at the same time with cameras kind of getting in people's way until they forgot about us. I think it was really exciting to try to be a fly on the wall. I mean, if you're there with a camera, you do change the way that people behave in subtle ways and in not so subtle ways. So, the fact that we shot over a multiple years, I think allowed us to establish relationships. I, obviously met workers, I met service providers, I met family members, and, that exposure, which I hope that when people watch the film, maybe not everyone has the experience of knowing someone with a disability. It puts a face, it puts a human to the issue. And I think what it's done for me is just allow me to realize that disability is part of the human experience. I knew what I didn't know. So because I hadn't worked in disability before telling stories, so I reached out to experts, including self-advocates who could help me, I think, with storytelling and probably not get into some major pitfalls of weird inspiration storytelling, or only highlighting a select few. I feel like we had a really diverse group of 5 people, 5 characters that we kind of followed through the story. I could ramble on forever, but I do think it's really valuable. What changes people's minds and expands people's minds is when they get to sort of dive into somebody else's world. And I hope that's what the film has allowed people to do, to kind of be in it with the people in Vertical Harvest.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Well, I want to give some opportunity for people in the audience to ask some questions before we finish up. And so I am not in the theater right now, but Julia Claire and others can help with that. And so what I think we're going to do is, if you have a question, if you could, raise your hand and take turns, and then Julia Claire will type that question in the chat box, and then we'll do the microphone as we've been doing it. So if anyone has a question, I will be quiet and you guys can coordinate in there.
And I think everyone deserves a round of applause for all the creative workarounds for technology, because technology can be good, but it can be so bad. Yes.
And I'll clarify, questions can be about disability and employment, or could be focused on the hydroponic plant warehouse. It's a mouthful when I start talking about it. So if you are curious about either one of those, I'd be happy to hear that.
You can ask about Mycah's art or Ava's hair thing.
Or a question about my birthday, if you want to.
Oh, well, we have an audience member who wants to thank us all for making this film. Yay, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for watching it.
Same here. You're welcome.
Any more questions? It might take a few seconds to type those in.
Well, you guys are typing some, oh, there we go. How many employees do you have and how many people know about hydro harvesting? So how many employees do you guys have, Ava?
We have about 40 employees total who work in and out of the greenhouse. And I think in terms of how many people know about the hydroponic system in our company, definitely all of them. Outside, I think it's a rapidly growing industry. We have a lot of interest from all over the country about, how do we do this in our own community? So I think it is rapidly growing, especially with climate change, impacting our traditional forms of farming and our traditional forms of employment and producing food. So not too many people, but it's certainly increasing.
I'm kind of curious how many people in the audience might have known what a microgreen was before the film.
I'm assuming about half the audience members are hopefully raising their hands, if not more.
Hopefully, yeah.
We have a wonderful, actually more than one, micro harvest or microgreens vendor at the farmer's market. And I know that's where I learned first about microgreens, and they are tasty to put on salads and sandwiches.
Nice. How did the employees find out about vertical harvest and how did they go about getting hired? How did you find out about it, Mycah?
How did I find out? Well, I was the same way as the other employees. I found out I got hired in March in 2014.
2016, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think because vertical harvest was 6 to 8 years in sort of coming to fruition, there was a lot of time spent with community buy-in and making sure people understood what the venture was, and that got a lot of people with disabilities, parents, service providers, local food producers on board. Although I think initially the traditional farmers, the soil farmers, were a little skeptical about it getting public money to do this. But vertical harvest has been really tremendous about reaching out to people who have felt threatened by it for whatever reason, logical or not. I think we all have this thing where if you do something, nobody else is really allowed to do it. That's your thing. And it turns out that all ships rise with the tide. And, vertical harvest was a very visible project that raised, the conversation about the production of local sustainable food. And anyway, so I think many people with disabilities and in the disability community learned about vertical harvest in the 6 to 8 years as it was starting. And so a lot of the first round of workers were kind of grandfathered in. They knew about it. They helped support it. They trained. They did hydroponic trainings way before the building was ever completed. And so you guys can probably talk about your retention rate. You don't have a lot of spots that open up.
Yeah, a lot of our employees who you saw in the film are actually still working at Vertical Harvest. So we have very, very high retention.
Here's a good one. This is for Mycah. Do you have a new dress for your upcoming birthday? And if so, what does it look like?
Well, I always want to do this in ice for my birthday. So it would say I'll say Elsa from Frozen, or Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
So you're going to have sort of a princess dress going on?
Yes, I might be Elsa because she's the queen. So I definitely like the big queen on my birthday.
I think we have a theme going, and it's called Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Okay.
I
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
it's the ice queen from Frozen,
Mhm.
from Frozen 2. And Elsa's my favorite. And and I also found out that she has a disability also. I found that out too.
Wow. There's another question here. What is the impact as far as this employment model has been on other businesses and companies in the community? Have other businesses adopted similar hiring principles? You guys want to take that?
I'm able to take that one.
Well, I was going to use you as an example, Mycah, who
Oh.
has another job in our community. And a lot of our employees have gone on to work in other areas. Tebow, who I don't know is in the film, works at the library. We have someone who works at a local gas station. Mycah works at Teton Village, one of our ski resorts. So I think just the visibility of our employment model and our employees as people has really kind of spread throughout the community. And we've really tried to empower folks for what's beyond vertical harvest. And a lot of times that is other companies in our own community. And I would say in terms of our future planning for expanding to more farms and building new greenhouses, a lot of what has made us competitive in the investment space is our employment model. So I think that's a true sign of communities wanting to adopt that.
Mhm.
And I was just going to mention there was a nonprofit that actually grew out of vertical harvest called Cultivatability. And they're now their own entity, and they're doing trainings for other companies. You know, they sort of they're promoting inclusive employment and doing all sorts of valuable trainings to all employers in the community. You know, and we've been often you're lucky in a small town, you have sort of more participation from you know, small and medium-sized businesses, I think, because a lot of the people who work at Vertical Harvest you know, had jobs in the community before, but I think sometimes they didn't have opportunities to grow in their employment and learn more skills. And I think, you know, that's always important when we're thinking about what makes a good job. You know, upward mobility is definitely part of it. The opportunity to try new things, learn new skills. When we stopped filming, no one with a disability was in a management position at Vertical Harvest. And now there are 2 people with disabilities in management positions. And I assume that will continue to evolve. So, you know, even people who are walking the walk and talking the talk still have space to grow, which is nice.
I think there's one other question in the chat,
Yeah.
Jen.
Does Vertical Harvest pay for job coaches, or are they mostly paid through waiver services? If both, what do you think the ratio is? So at Vertical Harvest, as far as I know, and both of you guys can jump in if I'm wrong, the Medicaid waiver, the Wyoming Medicaid waiver program pays for job coaches. So Vertical Harvest is paying a salary to the employee directly, but they're not paying the job coach. And sort of an interesting thing that's developed with job coaches, I think that very few employees now need job coaches and are almost exclusively supported through natural support. So coworkers, managers, that kind of thing. But you guys know more about that than I do.
That's correct, Jen. Actually, I know about that too, but the job coaches and the job supporters, half of our employees with people with disabilities, they have job coaches, and some of us have job coaches and supporters, and some of us are independent working.
Right. Right. It does seem like it's in the ratio has of people who need dedicated support has gone down over time. Does Vertical Harvest give tours on a daily or weekly basis? Someone wants to know.
Pre-COVID, we were giving almost daily tours in person. We had to stop that, of course, during the pandemic. And it's something that we've talked about really wanting to bring back because we think it is really valuable to have new energy who are really excited to learn about our company and our employment model and what we're growing inside the greenhouse. Sometimes the walls feel a little bit too much like walls when we're just kind of in our day-to-day workflow. So although we're not doing tours right now, we would love to bring a program back for that.
I definitely agree about that too. I definitely like to bring, I definitely want to see to bring back the retail market back in. And that's my first job working at the greenhouse, which I miss so much. My heart is in the market.
Yeah, so that is one unfortunate byproduct of the pandemic is the retail store shut. But you've repurposed that space to, how have you repurposed that space?
Well, during the COVID hit, we turned it into something different, which I'm kind of not used to.
So it's a break room, right? And yeah,
The break room.
yeah. Okay, so there's another question here. Do many of the people who work at Vertical Harvest that don't have a disability have previous experience with individuals with disabilities? So yeah, talk about that some, Ava and Mycah.
Well, it's okay. I go first, Eva.
Yeah, go for it.
Actually, I know some best friends who don't have disabilities, and they do help us out at the greenhouse.
Yeah, I feel like it's a really good mix of people. Some have a stronger background working with people with disabilities, and some come to Vertical Harvest more from the sustainable side. But all together, I think it really creates different strengths and weaknesses, and everyone's learning about different things in the same space. So it's a pretty good breakdown of 50-50 in terms of what brings you there. But I think the catch for people, or kind of the hook, is that if your interest lies on one side, you have the benefit of learning from the other and vice versa. So I think the blend is really kind of the beauty of the company.
Same.
Okay, they're gonna ask one more.
Yeah, I know Mycah and Ava have a cutoff point. And so Mycah had one more question for you, and then an opportunity for Jen and Ava to share any last comments. But Mycah, in our audience, we have some other adults with disabilities. And if you had some advice for them, if they are looking for a job or considering, getting a job in their community, what would that advice be?
So I would say, what's the question again? I'm sorry.
Okay. If you had some advice for other individuals or adults with disabilities who are looking for employment or jobs, what would your advice be?
My advice would be, to follow your heart, to be guided to your dreams, for your dream jobs.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ava and Jen, do you guys have any last comments? I know we could talk for hours probably on all aspects of this film, but wanted to give you an opportunity for any closing comments.
Do you want to go, Ava?
I just thank everyone for watching the film and getting excited with us about our company. I think it's something that, as we expand and are building our next farm in Portland, Maine, we're constantly learning new things. And so the film helps us remind us where we started and how much more growth we have. So thank you all for participating.
Yes. And I would say thank you for watching the House. I would say thank you for watching the House of Glass. And speaking of Portland, Maine, my beautiful face is on the well, hopefully, hopefully it might be on the board something for the. My for Facebook will be on the next postal thing for the greenhouse in May.
I love it. And Mycah, we had the audio cut out just a little bit. I wanted to clarify when I asked you for advice that you would have for other people with disabilities, you said to follow your dreams and your heart, right?
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. I thought that was an awesome answer. And Jen, any last words?
I think sharing the film and a story of possibilities, it just should remind you, like we are so much stronger when we do things together, and collaboration is so valuable. Having seen how hard the folks at Vertical Harvest work to bring this idea to fruition and what they're doing with it, I think should inspire everybody. It's good to have high expectations and to rise to them. So I think it's a good thing to aim for.
Absolutely. That's a perfect note to end on. Having high expectations for each other and our community and collaborating together. And so thank you so much to Jen and Ava and Mycah. And we can't thank you enough for, filming this and starring in it and working and sharing your story about Vertical Harvest.